Next, we're going to go to riding with the bridle, with the bit in the mouth. I usually do this at about 30 days into training. Each horse, of course, will tell me individually when it's probably best to go to it, but usually 30 days is a pretty good figure. You could ride a horse with a halter and lead rope all your life, but if you want to show, you need to have more finesse than you'll get with the halter and lead rope, so we go to the bit. I want to concentrate on the 4 natural aids to riding a horse. The first one is vocal cues, and I'll refer you to your project book to look that one up. We want to deal here with the more physical ones. Here I give a pull in the rein to ask him to arc his body to the left. This is a direct rein. The rein comes back toward my pocket. I don't reach out to the side so far anymore. I want the horse, when he feels pressure coming back toward along his side, to arc his body in a nice arc from head to tail. Or, once we get that, then we also want to use an indirect rein, which is a lifting rein in front of the wither to make a horse move laterally to the outside. So we've got 2 directions of a rein. A direct rein that comes back toward our pocket to arc the horse in a nice even circle. And we have the indirect lifting rein, which moves the shoulders to the outside. Actually, as he moves to the outside here, I could have lifted up on the outside rein and moved his shoulder back in if I wanted to, as well. Now, we handle the rein by giving a light pull to make this horse give his nose to the side. A light pull for a direct rein. And again, we release every time he gives. But occasionally our horse gets lazy on us and resistant. He knows the cue. We've been doing it for a long time, but he doesn't listen. So I reach down and I punish by pulling. Good firm pull to make the horse give. Then I go back to my real light cue again, and you'll find that he gives his face pretty easily here, keeps his mouth shut. He isn't excited. He's not afraid. He comes quite readily. But you don't use that pull until the horse knows what the cue means. Occasionally people will get excited or frustrated and they'll jerk the rein. That is the wrong thing to do. It'll make them open their mouth, raise their head up in the air, and you'll spend the next half hour getting his confidence back. So use light hands. If you must correct because of resistance or laziness, pull, never jerk. Next we're going to go to using our seat. Here you'll see me, I'll make it visible by pushing with my seat and make a horse go faster. Our seat is a good driver. So we use our cheeks of our fanny pushing forward in the saddle to get a forward motion. Here we're going to use another variation of it. We're going to push him forward with our seat, but we're going to hold him with our hands. We create a wall with our hands in the bridle and push him to the bit to halt and step off. Now this horse, because he's only had a bit in his mouth about 2 weeks, raised his head and opened his mouth. Eventually he'll get to the point when he feels that pressure in his face that he'll flex at the pole and come back to me nice and soft into my hands. Also, our seat helps us bend our horse in a circle. When we're going in a circle to the left, we put more weight on our left seat bone. We don't lean to the left, we just look and weight our left seat bone. Some people want to throw their weight. Don't do this. It throws your horse off balance, throws you off balance, and won't get the job done. A horse can feel a fly in his back, so he can surely feel a shift of a pound or two of you on his top. By sitting on that left seat bone, doing around this left circle, our left seat bone tends to push his backbone to the outside, which helps create our arc. So now we got our left indirect rein plus our left seat bone. Here I change direction by changing seat bone. And then I'll add the right rein to it as well. Horses get real sensitive to this. We'll come back through the center again and you'll see me shift my weight. Shift to the left, and he moves off to the left. So our seat bone is really good to help us arc our horses in a circle and to teach him which direction to go. Our seat, next we're going to go to then after we get the seat part, is we're going to use our legs. Our legs also are good for lateral control of our horse and bending of the horse. As I go off to the right, we have our right seat bone, we have our right direct rein, but now we're going to add a right leg as well. And you'll find that when you're sitting in your right seat bone, that puts your right leg closer to your horse's body. As I come around, you'll see my left leg is off my horse's body. which means the horse has a way to go out by fading to the left instead of pushing into the inside. Horse tends to like this inside leg. They wrap around it, helps them to keep the nice arc in their body that we want. As we come around the next time, we're going to show you what else we can do with this leg. Not just hold it there for the horse to wrap around, but if we apply pressure to it, and if we use a lifting right rein, indirect rein, the horse does a real pretty side pass or leg yield to the left. Let him up, go forward. So our leg is very good for lateral control of a horse's body. Next thing we're going to look at it with our legs is our legs are drivers. Our horse's balance point is at the girth. Any pressure applied behind the girth will tend to drive a horse forward. Pressure at the head of the girth drives a horse back. I don't change my rein pressure here. I just hold it steady, use my legs in front of the girth to back him up. Keeping the same pressure in his face with the reins, I'll put my feet behind the girth again and drive him forward. So our legs are good drivers, and where you apply them helps determine which direction a horse will go by nature. We can also use our legs to rotate our horse around his haunches or around his forehand. I'm going to start off here using a right foot, tapping the right shoulder as I give him a rein cue to ask him to step his front end around his rear end. I'm using a little bit of indirect right rein also to ask him to step across, a little bit left direct rein also to help him. Go back the other direction, my left leg in front of the girth, bumping him on the shoulder as he learns to step across. The next maneuver we're going to do is we'll ask him to move his haunches around his forehand. To do this, I lean forward a little bit because I want weight on the front pivot foot. I'm going to use my heel behind the girth to move the horse's haunches laterally. My left heel is pushing behind the girth. I'm trying to hold the front end even. He's moving a little bit more with his front end than I would like him to. We need a little more indirect rein to stop that. Main thing right now is I'm teaching him to move off my leg and move around the forehand. Here we'll go back the other direction. He keeps a left pivot foot a little better going this direction than he did the other. Practice will get better. I give and release with each step. I want the horse to realize that the step sideways is what I want in response to my heel. Next we're going to start off here in a left circle. We've talked about all the cues. Our cues to the left is a left direct rein, left seat bone weighted, left leg against the horse. I'm looking to the left. And we want to change direction. We got to change all of those cues. And people say, well, that's too difficult to remember all that, and that might be true. So ride like you drive a car or ride a bicycle. Use eye-hand coordination. So I go around here to the right. My eyes are right. My hip is a little more weighted to the right side. My right leg's against him. My right shoulder's back a little, which means I got direct pressure on the right rein. When I change direction, I look to the new direction. That automatically moves my left shoulder back, weights my left seat bone, rolls my left leg into the horse, my right leg off. So if you simply look where you're going, oftentimes you'll do a good job of coordinating your cues and having them correct. Here we go back the other way. Look the direction I want to go, and things fall in line. Here we're going to use our cues to do a turn on the haunches again. I'm using a left leg in front of the girth to move him to the shoulder over. I'm using direct and indirect reins. My right rein's connected to the right foot, my left rein to the left foot. I give a right direct rein to move the right leg over, a left indirect rein to move the left one. Now he's walking a little bit forward out of his circle, not locking up behind, but we'll get that. I'd rather he be moving forward than falling backward on this to start with. Again, we're doing a turn on the haunches with this horse, or forehand, with this horse. He's holding his pivot foot a little better than he had before. The other thing we want to talk about is backing up the difficult horse. When we start with a horse that's been spoiled at the back up, and when you take a hold of him, it's like grabbing a hold of a block wall. We need to get this horse to start backing again. So we pick up, there's a place at which a horse will be uncomfortable, and you can figure out how much pressure that is till he's uncomfortable. With this colt, it's quite light because he's always been backed off real lightly. But a horse that's more difficult, he'll probably root his nose against your hands. He'll try to pull the reins out of your hands. And so I block my hands on the pommel of the saddle, pick up the reins until I feel him uncomfortable, and then I just hold there until he makes that step back. And as soon as that step occurs, throw the reins to him. Next time you pick up, you won't have to hold as long. I've held 5 minutes on some horses the first time for the first step. But pretty soon, he'll back off quicker the second time. And then another thing I want to do with this horse that doesn't want to back up, once I get him started, I will use alternating reins to back him up like I'm doing with this horse here. Left rein, left front leg, right rein, right front leg. The reason I do that is I want to get my horse more flexible and soft in his face. And a horse that doesn't want to back up, one of the ways he evades that is to rear up, and that's very dangerous. But if I do left-right, you'll notice his head goes from left to right, and it tends to go down. So this prevents the horse from bracing against my hands and rearing. Next thing I want to do when I back up is he's gone too slow for me. Now, I don't back him faster by pulling harder on his mouth. I'll use my legs forward of the girth and get after him, spank him back. Relax. We'll go back up again, see if he's moved back a little quicker this time. Pick up. He's moving a little quicker. I want a little more speed than that yet, so I'll get after him again. Pretty soon he'll learn to back up at whatever speed you ask. Next thing we're going to do with our cues is we need our cues to get our leads on our horse. To start off to the right lead, we need our left heel to move the haunches to the right. Our right rein points slightly to the right. Our left hand gives an indirect rein to keep him from pushing his shoulder to the outside, and he picks up the lead. We'll come back to the center again, and we'll go to the left lead this time. This time we simply put our right heel against him to move the haunches to the left. We'll pick out with our left hand, and we'll lift with that outside rein lightly to keep him from pushing the shoulder too far out, and we get correct leads.